Hey, I'm Jon Sherman here with Jessica Hallahan on Beyond the Frame, where we talk about all things video production and otherwise that are beyond the frame. Jessica, you wrote a book.
I sure did.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and about this book.
Yeah, of course. So I am a public health educator that focuses on stress management and suicide prevention. And I decided we should write a book along with growing a business. And here I am.
That is pretty awesome. So I was going to, whenever you see somebody wrote a book, there's a little bit of a chicken or the egg thing from a marketing strategy. And I always try to pull things back to video marketing and strategy and those types of things. So chicken or the egg here was the business first and the book is supposed to drive traffic to the business. Was the book first and what happened there?
So the easy story is I like to challenge myself. So every year I set some type of challenge. So I decided to be a runner and an author in 1 year. So
those are hard to do at the same time.
Well, I should tell myself back in January this, but I did not. I said, let's try it, So that's kind of what it was. It was like, what's my challenge this year? And for being 5 years in business, I wanted something that was like a big tangible. Like you said, obviously there's going to be growth with the business, but I'm trying to teach people to grow about themselves. So I have to kind of do it too.
I love it. And so I guess let's get your background a little bit more so people know what to expect in terms of engaging with you, reading the book. So 5 years in business. How did you get involved in this space and tell us about the business?
Yeah, of course. So I started in the drug and alcohol field. So I was working with men reducing their sentence from jail, coming into the rehab. Wanted to be on the prevention side of things. Both my coworkers and my clients kept saying, I'm stressed. That's why I'm relapsing. My coworkers were like, I'm stressed. So I'm going out tonight, right? And I said, well, we're definitely missing something here. So went back to school, got a master's in public health. At my last practicum, I did a stress management workshop among the employees, the dentist, how to talk to the front desk how to talk to patients, and patients how to talk to the dentist. And I showed my professor, obviously, and he said, oh, you can turn this into a business. And just like everybody else, famous last words, how hard can that be?
So before we go into how hard that can be and is, so again, what was this sort of thing you set up with the dentist, the practitioners? What was the goal behind it? Because, and I don't know if you're familiar with the term motivational interviewing, but we've done some training videos and some work in that space.
Oh, good for you.
And so if you're familiar with that, and I can pretend like I know some stuff too, tie that in. But yeah, what was that give us a little more details, and then that became the impetus for this business.
Yeah, so I was working at a nonprofit actually in the city, and it was a dentist office, a pediatric dentist office, and I had to do something besides what I actually was doing. So during the 9 to 5, I was going to schools and hospitals teaching kids and parents how to take care of their teeth. So my mindset was they were all anxious. They were all stressed out about going to the dentist. So how do we fix that problem? So my mindset is things start from the top. So how do I teach the dentists how to communicate with their staff, and how do I have the staff communicate with the parents? Because the parents are going, you're taking my kid in the back, but I don't know what's happening. Mm-hmm. But then the parents are also saying, if you don't brush your teeth, the dentist is going to take them out. I'm going, well, you can't tell your kids that because now they're going to be scared. So it was just creating that communication style, and then them realizing like, oh, when I communicate this way, I'm less stressed out. I'm less anxious. And so that was kind of the premise of even though coworkers, right? Like, hey, I was a little less stressed today because I took time for myself. I actually had a lunch and did those kind of things. And so that's kind of what was my results of there's something here.
And so it seems like the core thing that you keep coming back to is stress. So what is the impact of stress that you're seeing? And it sounds like that's the root problem.
Well, it's the root problem because we all deal with it, right? Not one person has said, I've never been stressed before. We all have it. What we've done is normalize it to the point where we don't make it a big deal. Like, oh, okay, I'm losing my hair. I'm just stressed. It's no big deal, right? Oh, I have this chronic health problem. Well, it was caused because of stress. So it's fine. Everybody has stress. And so my mindset is, well, yeah, stress is coming. So why don't we do something about it? And realizing that these are habits we can do every single day, and they're not cost effective. They're not, timely. These are things I can literally do every day.
I love it. I want to go back a second to make sure I understand, because it sounds like there were two elements, and maybe those are core to your business as we talk about it. But in the dental practice coaching that you were doing, right? You were not just helping people alleviate the stress, but also giving them sort of specific tools and what to say and how to say it. Right. How are those two things intertwined between stress? Like, did that lead you to the stress as being the source of things, or are they intertwined in some way that I'm not understanding? Yeah.
Yeah, well, communication does affect your stress, right? So me realizing how I'm speaking to somebody else, right? So my easy example I always try to give someone is, if you ever see the movie Back to the Future.
November 6th, 2025, by the way, we're a couple days past that, is the future that they go to, by the way. So we just actually fun fact, I just saw this on Instagram. We are in the future of Back to the Future right now in the same year. Sorry.
I thought you were going to mention their musical that's coming up too. I was like, yes.
That's coming later. This is about to take a big turn.
Okay, sorry. And we regroup. So in that, what does Marty not like being called?
Oh my gosh, this is embarrassing. A chicken. Don't call him chicken.
And when he's called chicken, what is he thinking?
Loses his mind.
He loses his mind because what is he hearing? If I go, John, you're such a chicken.
That he's not good enough?
Not good enough, right? So my words have an impact. So if I'm telling these kids, going back to the dental practice, right, that the dentist is going to do this because you ate too much candy, because you're not brushing your teeth correctly, my words have that impact on how they're going to perceive the dentist, right? And then also in turn, right, if I think if you call me a chicken, I now am becoming defensive.
Right.
Right. So now we're going to this back and forth fight, but we're not talking about the root cause. So all of this is causing us stress, and we're like, oh, well, we always just fight because he has to call me that name. Well, did I ever talk about how I perceive that name and how that's me becoming aware, and also me communicating to you going, hey, when you say chicken, it makes me feel like you think I'm weak and worthless.
So if I'm hearing you right, it's cyclical. Meaning the word choices we make create more stress, right? If we are stressed, we're more likely to be less conscientious around the words we use.
Yes.
And we go in an endless loop. Am I getting it?
You're getting it.
Amazing. So now somebody sees you doing this, solving these. I imagine the kids were then going to the dentist's office and everybody was super happy and enjoying themselves and loving the experience. And so they go, you can start a business doing this. And so what was the initial iteration of this? And is it the same 5 years later as it was when you started? Okay. Speaking of a trigger word, I said that, it was like Marty McFly and chicken.
Well, it's just funny because, I mean, even your team, they mentioned you're matching your pink and, everything. And so, because that was my colors in the beginning, right? I was, let's be a woman empowerment speaker and everyone's going to be joyful and I'm going to attack all these moms and it's going to be great. And as we haven't gotten into just yet, but I primarily work with blue collar men, right? And so it's just, things aren't matching, but I already had made my name and my brand with these bright pink colors. And so it's just no, it's completely different. It's the same premise on communication, stress, all those kind of things, but it's not the same target. Not that I don't work with women, I definitely do, but my niche is grown in a different way.
Well, it's fascinating. I think that most people would be surprised probably to hear that the folks that, besides the colors of the brand, which by the way, anybody can wear pink.
Yes, we're not saying that. So sorry. That wasn't mine.
Wear pink if you want to. Yeah. But you're right. I mean, if you're working mostly, the fact that there's blue collar businesses that have been attracted to this work and have felt the need to train their people on the best communication skills and the best ways to de-escalate stress and using you for that work to coach. I think that you're right. I think most people would look at the brand, hear the concepts and go, you're probably not working with HVAC companies, but that is who you're working with.
That's 100% who I'm working with.
So what, was it an accidental fall in, or are there people that just is there this need there that's so obvious that people,
It's kind of like your question earlier, what came first, the chicken or the egg? So I was networking like we all do when we first started business. It's just put your name out there, just go tell people, figure it out,
Sure.
And so one company had said, which was an HVAC company, and they said, hey, why don't you bring your practice to me? And I said, okay, sure. They said, it's an HVAC company, which I kind of knew because I knew who they were. Can you come at 7 a.m.? And I was like, okay, here we go. I don't know what I'm doing, but kind of going back to, I worked at the rehab, so these were my main population anyway. That the blue collar men, things like that, not everybody, but I worked with men. So it wasn't so far-fetched. So I had an idea what I was doing. And then while I was doing that, that's when the more research came of understanding that construction is the third most stressed out industry and second leading die by suicide.
Wow.
So it's kind of going, oh, there's a need. I have to make this a thing.
Whoa, second, is there some sort of data that's pointing to why? Is it the, I assume it's the stress, but what, yeah.
Somebody said it the other day, and I've been stealing it. It's, they're the silent strugglers. right? Most men aren't going, "Oh, you know what, I'm going to go grab a beer with you tonight and we're going to talk about all our problems and then we're going to process them and we're going to figure them out together." No, you just said the Eagles were playing last night and that we went and hang out, right? That was my way of clearing my mind. So it's that, and there's the pressure too, right? Like economy, all that kind of stuff, like it's changing. Most blue collar men, or, and men in general, right? They are the main breadwinners, right? And so they're having their, family stay at home, but it's struggling, it's hard. Then it's the time management piece, right? It's the, oh, you guys get to be home by 3:00. Well, they also left the house at 4:30 that morning, right? And now they're getting beat up all day at work because the materials from Europe aren't coming and half of them are broken. And now this person's yelling at them and the person above them is yelling at them. And now they have to work on Saturday. So now they're skipping their son's soccer game again so they can pay for the soccer game. And it's just like you were talking about earlier, that cycle.
Wow, that's fascinating. I don't think that's something that I knew as a statistic as being that high. So a lot of folks that are, if you're a business owner that you're you have a business that you're in the HVAC, in construction. What are some of the other industries that you really serve?
Yeah, so like you said, definitely blue collar, definitely my heart. I've been making my way into a lot of the teachers programs, so I've been working a lot with teachers as well. Feeling that need, I mean, that's a given, right? That doesn't even have to have any explanation. They're working with our kids every single day and then going home to their own kids. So among everything else, and it's completely different than, we'll be real, like before when you and I went to school, right? It's completely different. So working with them a lot. Those are my two main niches, but they're not my only. I've have a couple other companies too.
When you're working in the schools, are you working in the public school space, in the private school space? How are you getting in and how do people connect with you on that?
Yeah. My secret is I'm a really good stalker on LinkedIn.
Oh, good.
I love stalking on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah, if anyone ever asks about, getting clients, LinkedIn, this is not even a plug. Like, they don't pay me for this. It's like, I'm telling you, post on LinkedIn, stalk on LinkedIn. It's the jam. Do that one. Okay. So that's what I'll do. I will search head of school, for example, and make it simple. Head of school on LinkedIn. Jon is the head of school of XYZ school. I'll see the connections are. I'm like, oh, Susie knows them. I'm just going, hey, Susie, have you talked to Jon of head of school recently? If she says yes, great. Do you feel comfortable making a connection? Most people do. Some people are going, shoot, I have not talked to that man. He's a head of school? No, I have no idea how he got from A to B, right? So then that's fine. I then can go, I'll email Jon myself and just say, hey, Jon, this is what I do. These are the problems I solve.
Are you interested?
Are you interested? So.
And that's been a hit for you. Because, I love that, again, on Beyond the Frame, we like to talk about all of these things. And I think that hearing a little bit about that strategy, that grassroots strategy of, I really love the fact that you're using it as a connector. You're looking at the mutual connections first and trying to make that as an introduction, because obviously an introduction is going to be a much stronger referral than 100%. If you just cold email somebody or cold chat them on LinkedIn. And I imagine as many clients as you have a plethora more that have never responded or ignored those messages as we all have.
Yes.
So that's great. That's great to know. And so, and so coming back to the work that you're doing, what does it look like to work with you? So if I bring you in, let's say I have an HVAC company, I'm going to bring you in. What are the things that you're doing with my team that's going to help them? It sounds like both on the communication side and overall stress reducing side.
Yeah. So I have my main course, and I have, like we've talked about before, like the introduction ones, like, okay, let's just do a lunch and learn. I have all those ones, but my main jam is my 6-month series program. So I come into your office once a month for 6 months. And when I say that, it doesn't have to be consecutive, right? You don't have to do January, February, because HVAC, there's months where
right. There's busy season.
There's busy season, right? We all have our busy seasons. And so, I flow with your seasons. So it's just, you have a 6-month package, use as you like. And what I do in those, it's very much, I have my introduction, whereas what the heck even is stress, right? Let's just talk about what stress is, how do you stress react versus how I stress react. And then we kind of break down some easy bite-sized, what can I do today habits. But the common theme for all of it is becoming aware, creating that accountability through interactive workshops. So it's not just, Jon, let's talk about that email. No. We're going to get some interactive, a lot of competition, because my HVAC and my blue collar people love their competitions. Get some competition going and go, okay, let's talk about that. Why did your team win versus this team? Oh, well, we worked together because we communicated this way. Well, let's talk about that communication, right? So it's having them hands-on, practice these skills, and then implement it to, well, how do we take this into the workforce? How do we take this to the field?
Is this being deployed directly to the field? Is it generally to managers and then it's their responsibility to scale it down? Does it depend?
It depends. So it depends on the company. Some companies are like, it's all field men and this is what we're doing. Some of them are a different, maybe they have more employees. They're like, hey, can we just focus on our upper management? I have another company where I'm doing different workshops for each department. So they're saying, okay, for my, my truck drivers, can we do something like this? Or my sales team, they really have stress around time management. Can we do this? So it's hitting the stress in the different areas for them too. So sometimes you can really, focus on what their needs are.
Okay. So I recently watched an episode of the show Tires.
Okay.
And there was they brought in like an HR person that was supposed to be like teaching, and it was very akin to the Office episode where they did the HR management episode that was really inappropriate.
It's that mechanic shop that's like
it's
Valley Forge?
Okay,
I've
Valley
seen
Forge,
season one.
Exactly.
Yes. Sorry, keep going.
So this one's season 2. Season 2 is way better. Anyway, and the kind of joke was that all these, they're all blue collar mechanic technicians and they're sitting there and they're rolling their eyes and kind of poo-pooing the whole thing.
100%.
How much of that are you dealing with? Because I imagine that, and you're laughing already, I imagine that one of the hesitancies on somebody that runs, let's say, their HVAC company going, I'm going to get crucified if I bring this woman in her pink everything and she's going to teach me about stress. It's going to be a nightmare. Do you get that? It sounds like you do. And how do you overcome it?
So it 100% happen, right? You have, I always tell people, you have the bippity boppity blonde coming in going, hey guys, we're not going to be stressed no more, right? And so they're going, no, thank you, ma'am. That's not what we're doing, right? So it's coming at them and understand, like telling my story, right? So first of, this is why I do what I do. Let's kind of get at that level playing field. And then I think, so I build that trust and then having that interactive workshop, it's not just next slide. It's giving them that time to have those communications and work among themselves. And I've learned a lot. They have no problem telling me what they like and don't like. So I have companies that have been with me, what's the one? I think almost 4 years. And every time we're done our sessions, I'm like, okay, what do we need next year? What is it that I'm not covering? And so again, they don't hold back. They are truthful, okay? So it's but it's cool because I rather, and you know this, right? You want your clients to tell you what they like and don't like, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm lucky that they don't hold back and they say, hey Jess, we kind of got lost on the competition. Can we have more of this kind of stuff and this kind of building? Yes, I will figure that out. Or if I can't, I'm going to communicate with them. And so I think there goes that trust again of delivering what I'm able to and letting them know what I can't.
Well, there's nothing worse than not getting any engagement, right? You're coming into, especially I imagine as a coach, you come into a room, if no one's communicating, talking, if you set up a competition and no one's competing, a nightmare. So I think that it's really telling that you're already jumping over the, how do I overcome this, and going right to they're not afraid to tell me stuff and they're making modifications, which means they're participating, they're listening, they're engaged, which means there's connectivity there. Do you feel like, I mean, for me, do you use the shock value of that suicide note of, I'm still kind of drawn to that. The fact that that statistic is so jarring to me.
I definitely bring it up to them. They need to know, right? And so it's one of the things that I say, this is why I do what I do. And so if you need more support, have those things. So it's more of, having them have that awareness of why I'm doing what I'm doing and why up here is important, like when I'm speaking and stuff. But it's also just kind of going, this stuff is so important. Be aware of not just yourself, but the people around you, And the thing is, I don't think it's as shock value to them as you might think, because
they know
because they've lost people, right? So I've been in companies where they've lost people because of suicide. So, they're not going, oh, that will never happen. A lot of them have experienced it.
And so they know the value. Let's go into impact. I think that's a good transition there. So, what have you seen as the impact? You said there's certain companies you've been working with your entire time straight through, right? 4 years.
Cool. It's so cool.
What has the impact been that you've seen?
I think the impact, and kind of going back to your, we talked about earlier, is them being open to saying, this is what I want. This is what I need, right? So for example, I don't teach meditation, but I'll teach mindfulness, and they're different, right? There's different ways to practice mindfulness. And so I teach like what the heck even mindfulness is and how do I practice it? But there have been times where they're like, I need more breathing techniques. I've done the belly breathing. What else can I do? How else can we implement it? Can we make more time? Can we do this in every session? Mm-hmm. And so my mindset is that the impact is that they're open to new things. The impact is that they want to try this more often, and the impact is like they see the value of that, right? So I think that's kind of the coolest thing, and it's I get to leave what I do and see that, right? Like I get to see like, oh, they want more of this. And the most recent one, they asked for like grief and loss. And I'm not a grief and loss counselor, but I was like, I can break down the stages and we can talk about the different stages. But
Sure.
I'm not going to be your grief and loss counselors, right? So communicating what I can and can't do. And so just then, again, I think there's that validation of being heard and bringing what I can bring and then saying, here are resources because I can't bring it all.
I want to go to the fun for a second, and I don't know what you can share
tell
on
me
the
everything.
podcast here. But you talked about the competition and how exciting that was. What is there an example of something that you do that's like a game that you do that you break the room up into?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite ones, I have two favorite ones, but one of my favorite ones is, it's something, I love simplicity. Giving groups different index cards, right? And having them, have to make the biggest tower, right? But there has to be a twist. You can't just say make a biggest tower. So it's the tower, and it's, you guys, only John can talk. No one else can talk. Or in this group, Zach can't speak, but everybody else can speak, right? So like giving different ones. Or in this group over here, Sean has to be the, distractor. He doesn't want to do the work. He's on his phone. He does everybody's ideas of poo-poo, right? And so it's doing that and then having them come together and going like, whose tower is so big? And they get so focused. But just like life, it's so quick to lose that tower, right? The wind blows because, we're in their shops.
Sure.
Somebody goes, let's just put one more on, or you have the one person who isn't always the one that is active, right? And just more of the follower. And that has to be the leader because he's the one that has to be the leader in that group. So it's the different competitions that way. We're pushing people out of it. And I'm laughing because I have to bring my sewing ruler, strip. I'm talking about
the tape measure, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm like sewing. It's and I have to bring it, and they all get. There's 1 centimeter, and so they get so excited, and it's just again, it's an easy one, it's a fun one, but they get so excited for it too, and they, anything you can make a competition,
I love it.
Yeah.
And so thinking of the owners, right, and or leaders, who are the people? Well, I shouldn't assume. Who are the people that are first of all making the decision to bring you in? Is it HR? Is it leadership? Is it a different group?
It's typically the owner, or the sales of operations, somebody like that. And usually because I get so much from LinkedIn, it's usually that. So again, pulling my LinkedIn plugin. So it's just so simple. John,
that's LinkedIn.com.
LinkedIn.com.
Yeah. Download the app today. Download it to your phone, to your tablet, to your computer.
All the above. But it's usually them seeing me on some type of platform like, hey, they might be the supplier of the construction worker that I'm working for. So they'll reach out. And so it's usually that typical person that's running the LinkedIn. When I'm cold outreaching, I reach out for the owners, sometimes HR, but yeah.
Okay. And so those are the folks that are bringing you in. And I guess, because this will help people who are maybe new prospects understand why they need you, right? And if you're listening to this, you probably already have an instinct as to why, right? If you've made it this far into the episode. But from both perspectives, we talked about impact earlier. When we think about a business, you're generally thinking about a return on investment, right? And in return on investment, normally people are thinking about financial, but there's an emotional, there's the cultural benefit to your company. What are the symptoms in an organization where people are going, hey, we should do this? Because I do, you said earlier that really grave statistic, but I don't know that, hopefully not every organization has already experienced that, right? Or feels like everybody's about to, end their lives. So what are the other symptoms that people are seeing where they might recognize that they need this? And what would you say some of your top clients walk away with saying, this is the value of this? Because, what are those two pieces?
I think I'm going to generalize those two questions,
please.
The value and why. I think the biggest thing is you're bringing your team together, right? So you're bringing your team together and having conversations that they're not typically having. Rather, again, we're not going to the deep diving, but those deep diving conversations can happen naturally.
Sure.
So I'm creating, there are all these people that work together and they're coming into one room, having this competition, having fun, having conversations. So you are already just bringing your community together, and it's not at the next happy hour. It's not them being forced to, do something else, right? You're just, hey, let's do this hands-on workshop together. So now you're just creating that community. So I think just that alone, I get a lot where it's like, hey, sometimes Jon doesn't skip to here, but he loves the working with his team in a different way. He doesn't always get to see Bob anymore because Bob got promoted to, supervisor. So now he doesn't drive the truck.
Right. So there's a culture component where you're just getting people together in a positive way. Got it.
And they're taking something from it.
Right.
No matter what, right? So I think that's the big one, right? But then if we want to get some nitty-gritty ones, I think the other ones is the simple ones, right? The field guys aren't working well with the in-house because, well, they get to be inside all day, and I'm freezing and it's snowing, and good for them, or vice versa. A nice one is always
we definitely see that a lot in some of the organizations we work with, whether it's retail, right, where you see corporate versus in the field, and just that sort of disconnect and butting heads. So that's really cool. Yeah, definitely an environment there.
And it's a needed one, right? With that one, it's like everybody needs everybody. Whether it's a restaurant, the host needs a busser, the busser needs a server. Like we all need it. So we lose that focus sometimes.
It's also a good change of pace, right? Where, if you're in corporate and you get to work into the retail space for a little bit, like it's a nice change of pace. And flip side, right? If you get to, to your point, if you're in the field and, you're mostly out coming in to do a workshop like this, definitely just a change of pace.
Change of pace. And again, you get to work with them and have different conversations with them. It's not just like, did you get this done? Did you get this done?
Right.
You get to have a different conversation and kind of ease that a little bit, right?
Love it.
The other one is, especially in the blue collar field, the generation gap, right? So the older generation, they look at life very differently. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And then younger generations wants to have different conversations, different outlines, things like that. And so how do we have two different people communicate that are communicating differently? So I'll make a quick story if I have time, is that one of the things that I've talked about is communication. And so we're going through the different communications. I brought the whole, Marty story up. What makes you defensive? What makes me defensive? How do we work on this at the team? And one guy raised his hand. He says, yeah, for example, when I was on the job site, I was trying to teach them how to wrap the wire. They're infrastructural electrical company, so they're wrapping the wire. And he's like, I was teaching him the figure eight. And an older guy goes, what the bleep is a figure eight? And so they're going back and forth and they're, hashing it out to eventually feel like they were saying the same thing. Older guy was saying the ice skater or something. It was something like that. And then the yin yang, it was something silly. And then the younger guy was calling the figure eight. And I said, okay, a couple minutes in, I said, okay, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? Do you guys realize you've been talking about the same thing, but
you're just using different terminology.
Terminology. But don't you really think you could figure that out if you just took the pause? And how often are you doing this on the job site? Mm-hmm. And that's when we're like, oh. I'm like, yeah, we argue about the dumbest things on the job site, which is your time, which is your energy, which is your mindset. Cut it right now.
And ties back to the stress and all of that. So I think that's a good segue.
Yes.
We have been building up this entire conversation, talking about your background, the work you do, to this moment. Tell us about this book.
Okay. It's called Drink the Coffee While It's Hot. It's 10 habits to help you reduce your stress every day. So you'll hear about my background story, about how I even started in the drug and alcohol field. What are some ways I've implemented? When did I burn out? When did I, all of those stories and what strategies and habits I had to learn and adapt to. So they're just 2 minutes before your coffee gets cold. Habits, right? Obviously, one of them is drinking the coffee while it's hot. And storytelling, lots of humor. I think I'm funny. I'm a comedian in my next life. And it's for, for all of us. We all need it.
And so is this, if I haven't gone through the Jessica Hallahan coaching process, am I going to be sort of lost in this?
No.
Is this the precursor to getting into a course like that? Where does this fit in sort of my learning journey?
I think it's for both, right? If you've seen my talks, you're like, okay, I want to learn more about Jess's story and, kind of really hear where she's implemented these in her own life. And then for others who are just like, let me dip my toe in. What is this? So it's a little bit of both. And I feel like anybody can really enjoy it.
Give me one of the big takeaways here. What's one little nugget that I could get that our audience will learn?
Well, I'll drink the coffee while it's hot. That's the biggest habit, right? Drink the coffee while. Ta-da.
If the camera can see, right? I got my own mug today. Thank you.
You sure did.
I've been shamelessly promoting this entire time. Slow sip. So
tell me.
yeah, what does that mean? And yeah.
So it's making time for myself every day is 2 minutes. I need to make time for myself every single day for 2 minutes. If I don't make time for myself every day, who will? So I set the standards for myself. So 2 minutes every day, no social media. That's including LinkedIn. No social media, just me. I'm now setting boundaries. I'm learning how to communicate what I need. And when I make that time for myself, I now go, oh, this is what I really want to say. This is what I really need. And then I'm able to communicate that, able to set those boundaries. It's just 2 minutes a day. Drink the coffee while it's hot, 2 minutes every single day by yourself. That's it.
Okay, so I'm not allowed to do social media. What do I do if I'm a person that's like, but that's my 2 minutes? I doom scroll for 2 minutes. I need that, Jessica. Slow sip. I need that.
Need that. Just like I need caffeine in the morning, right?
What do I do?
Yeah. The thing is, so I don't want you to think I'm hating on social media. I don't hate on social media. What I'm doing is clearing my head. I'm giving my time. Think about when you're in the shower, right? And all those thoughts go to you. That moment, I'm giving instead of just having a big moment in the shower, I'm giving myself that time to breathe. I'm going to get back to the social media one, but this is really quick. If I always tell this one, this is an easy one. If I had a soda bottle right here and I'm shaking, that's my thoughts all day. On average, we have 60,000 thoughts a day. That's before you're stressed out, by the way. So 60,000 thoughts a day on average. And then what happens when I'm shaking that all day and I get in the shower and I open that soda bottle everywhere. But if I give myself the 2 minutes and slowly open that crack of the soda bottle, I'm able to breathe, think about those thoughts, put them together, process them, right? So think about the benefit of why this 2 minutes is. Now with the social media, again, I'm not hating on social media. But I can do that the rest of the day. There's other times to do that, one.
Sure.
And two, the thing with the social media is if your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever it is, your algorithm is puppies and happiness and all that stuff, amazing. I'm not gonna, that's your algorithm. We're in control of our algorithm, by the way.
Everyone is going, that's not my algorithm. What's the next thing you're about to say? Everybody's just literally in the, okay, fine. Yeah, that sounds great. That's not my algorithm. What's the other one?
So just like life, I'm able to control my algorithm, right? So what am I spending my time on while I'm scrolling? Right? That's on me. That's my control. So going back to the stress, I'm in control of a lot more things than I realize. So understanding that what videos am I going, I should watch that. Or when they go, I'm going to test this. If they want to watch this, am I actually watching that video? Or am I going, no, thank you. No, thank you. Right? That's on me.
It's helpful to know because I think most people just immediately go shut off the phone. And I will say for myself, that has been a practice that I've needed, right? And I think most people, I find it from looking at my kids. When I see that you can, when you're doing it, you're so engaged and you feel like you're productive. But when you watch somebody else doing it, it is just like horrific, right? Yeah. So I totally get, but I love the fact that you make space for social media in a productive way.
Sure.
But let's take that out. So in your ideal world, what is that 2 minute? What am I doing in those 2 minutes? If I'm not doing social, I've shut it off. What am I doing in those 2 minutes?
I'm enjoying my cup of coffee.
That's it. Just
think about like when we make this beautiful meal. Now I know coffee takes a lot quicker, so we have the Keurigs, all those fun things. But if I make this beautiful meal, I just want to sit and enjoy it. We complain we don't have time to sit and enjoy these meals. I complain that I don't have time to sit and enjoy my kids playing. I complain that I can't just walk my dog because I have to take phone calls and things like that. Just sit with your cup of coffee.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Now listen, if you're like, and you'll read in the book, right? Maybe it's one page in your book that's been sitting on your nightstand with an inch thick of dust. Maybe it's a journal. You're like, oh, I just want to get some thoughts out. Okay, well, 2 minutes, just ramble away. But it's your 2 minutes of giving your brain to go, opening that soda bottle one click at a time.
I really love that idea. And I think that it's something that everybody could practice very easily.
Yes.
And I think that it's a great first, I imagine, very little toe dip in the water into the value that you're bringing every day, Jessica Hallahan. So if you get a chance, please make sure you drink the coffee while it's hot, folks. This is a really cool book. It was really great to have you in the studio today, Jessica. Any parting thoughts before we break here?
I always say drink the coffee while it's hot, but I'll go with you set the standards for how others show up for you. So you set these standards. That's on you. You're able to control your stress.
Thanks so much, Jessica.